Good morning, good afternoon and good evening, and welcome to our You'll Never Walk Alone WhatsApp and YouTube channel group. Okay, so the first night of the Ronaldo interview has just been finished in the UK on Piers Morgan Uncovered, or whatever he calls the show. So because it was only live a few hours ago, it didn't come through in Australia, obviously. So I actually watched it on a Manchester United YouTuber's, he's pretty popular YouTubers. He was actually watching the show, put it up on the screen, and then he was just in the bottom. That was the only way I got to see it. I'm not going to name the YouTuber because I don't want to get him in trouble, because I'm pretty sure he was copywriting, but that's how I got to see it. So this video might be a bit later than everybody else's. What was my takeaways? First off, I have to say that it was a really good interview. I was expecting, watching it on a United fans board, that they would have comments, so I could see what United fan thought of, you know, their greatest player coming out and kicking the shit out of their club. And to be honest, he never said two fucking words other than agree with most of the stuff he was saying, which does come across as correct because, you know, I think everyone has to be, everyone can honestly say that whoever watched it, it was compelling viewing. It's very hard, it's very unusual to see a long interview like that with any footballer that you like or respect or even don't like. They just don't do 2-hour interviews. And it was a huge, it went into everything that, you know, from when he started, how he joined, to the current day. Now it's only part one, so I will do a part two tomorrow to finish it up. It's the biggest story in football because the World Cup hasn't started and the English Premier League is on pause with all the other European leagues. So what did he talk about? Well, the first thing, I have it written actually, I've written down a few notes. So the first one was he was close to joining Manchester City, way closer than I think anyone actually thought. And it was really an intervention from Alex Ferguson, which swayed him to go to Manchester United. The second thing that came out of it was how much he loves the United fans. He genuinely does, I think, have a huge amount of respect for them. He loves the adulation he gets, and why wouldn't you? But I don't think he's doing this to hurt the fans. The third point, of course, was that I'm only just picking out the points that I think are worthy of discussion. Now, he did talk about his family. I have kids, and I think that he self-explained the situation, and I have nothing to say. Keep kids out of the conversation. So he had a good chunk of the interview was about what happened, and was very nice that Piers Morgan actually brought up the point that Liverpool fans at the Kop against United, after that happened, gave him a sign, "You'll Never Walk Alone," for his recently deceased son, who tragically didn't make it with the other twin. So I don't want to get into the kid stuff because I think families should be left. They're not part of this. So I'm just going to keep to the football, but it was a huge part of the interview. So like, there was the start was about football, the middle was about the family dynamic, and then the end was about the football. Now, I think we should just talk about football. I don't want to talk about his family or his wife or anything like that. So the third point, obviously, was Ralf Rangnick. Now, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know who the fuck Ralf Rangnick was when he got that job. I had to research it like everybody else. And I think if anyone's really honest, they didn't know who Ralf Rangnick was either. He had some, you know, involvement with the Red Bull team in Salzburg and all the rest of it, and helped them develop build a football club. But as far as a coach, he won the Intertoto Cup in 2000 with Stuttgart. That was his list of achievements. And that achievement was enough to manage, you know, arguably one of the biggest clubs in the world, right? And Ronaldo just goes, I didn't know who he fucking was. How can I respect that? And to be honest, how can you? He's the best, one of the second best player to ever have played the game, and he's standing there looking at fucking Professor Gobshite trying to tell him how to play football when he has no achievements to his name. So, yeah, Ronaldo didn't rate him and said so. He didn't know who he was and didn't think it was a good idea, and it wasn't. It was a disaster. He obviously said that he felt let down by Erik ten Hag and doesn't respect him. So, in that comment alone, that's his United career over. Full stop, end of story. Now, to be fair, that interview was done so his United career would be over. United are going to turn around and say he didn't have any interest in him, we couldn't get rid of him, and we wanted him to go. They didn't want him to go, because if they wanted him to go, he'd be gone. Manchester United were never slow about getting rid of people they didn't want at the club. They got rid of everyone that you can imagine that was huge there, and they let them go. They let go everyone, including their best and most successful captain, Roy Keane. So I don't take that on board. So he slated him. The other thing was the young players, other than Delo, are just, they've no interest in learning from him and trying to develop their game, and that's why United are fifth and not challenging. And lastly then it came on to the ex-players that have criticised him, and he made a comment. At the end of the day, Rooney and Neville, how is that damaging Manchester United by slating ex-players who've had a go at him? He's just straightening the record up on that. So what, out of the first hour, what did he do to criminally damage the club? Oh, he spoke the truth about the Glazers. The actual truth about the Glazers. And how they haven't invested in the infrastructure of the club. But you know who else said that? And has been screaming about it? Just to rattle off a few. Roy Keane, Rio Ferdinand, Gary Neville, Ryan Giggs, Michael Carrick. There's been hundreds of players who've come out and said that the club needs to get modernised and that the facilities are lagging behind everyone else. The Glazers haven't put a penny into the club. All they've done is rip it out. And they might have spent money on the team, but the fucking place around them is crumbling. And how can you be successful when other clubs are building, cities next to the stadiums? So I didn't see he said anything that, except for the Erik ten Hag bit. If he hadn't have said that, I don't see what the problem was. Of course, United fans are going to be split on this. You're going to have the younger fans who, who just want instant success and who don't really understand the heritage and the history of the club, and who really didn't see Ronaldo in his pomp at Manchester United, calling for him to go. But then you've got the older fans, the ones who are like me, who are a bit more mature, and who have watched, successes and failures over many years. And I think, if I was a United fan, I wouldn't be that upset about it, because it's not anything we didn't really fucking know. It just was weird hearing it from first hand, someone actually there. The world is full of bluffers and bullshit artists, and football clubs are full of spin and bollocks. And it's nice when someone cuts through all of that, and instead of gouging you for as much money as they can get out of you as a supporter, actually spit back the truth to you as to what you're actually supporting. And I think as a Manchester United fan, if I was sitting there today, the first thing I'd be thinking of is, we need to get them fucking Glazers out of our club. So, yeah, that was my reaction to the first instalment. Did it pump up anything? No, because the clips had ruined the interview really, because anything that was juicy was already released. So we'd already heard about the gigs and the thing, we'd already heard about the Ralph Rangnick, and we'd already heard about the Erik ten Hag. So they'd already been released. How does this affect Ronaldo moving forward? It doesn't affect him at all. His head is gone. He's moved past Manchester I guarantee you he's over at that World Cup. His house is being cleared out. All his shit is gone, and he's already based back in Portugal. He ain't going back. All it's going to be is who's paying who to go out, to leave. I would assume that United will cancel his contract through mutual agreement with a cash settlement to shut him up and to move on. Because the Glazers can't have the best player in the world telling everyone how shit their club is and how little they spend on it. Because the greatest illusion ever is to make people believe that it's okay, when it physically isn't. Now, look, we're not big fans of Manchester United on this group. Obviously, they're our hated rival. But honestly, as a person looking at this from the outside in, I have to say that Ronaldo's interview was very, very well put together. I know Piers gets a lot of hate in England. I don't know why. He says things that are provocative. No, he doesn't toe the line of what all the other usual media bullshit is pumped out, and that everyone like sheep follows. He's an outside of the box thinker, and I thought he did an amazing interview. It was very easy to watch. It was on for an hour and you thought it was only on for 15 minutes, and that's always the sign of a good interview. I'd say there's not a football fan in world football that isn't going to watch that interview at some point, and I'd say there's going to be tons and tons of YouTube videos of people's opinions on it. But anyway, this is mine. This is part one. I'll do another part two but that was basically, if you don't get to see it, that's basically the breakdown. No real shocks, because if you've watched the clips, you've already seen the first episode. What the second episode is going to be is anyone's guess, because everything that was was released early to get you interested has already been shown. So who knows what tomorrow night brings? Maybe it's worse. But on this evidence, just on this interview, I don't see any problem. All right, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. It's really important to us that you hit the subscribe button and the like, and thanks for watching.